Hello students, good afternoon. So we are solving the problems based on complex numbers. Let us see some more examples. Example: find the conjugate of complex number 3 minus 2i into 2 plus 3i divided by 1 plus 2i into 2 minus i. So some complex number is given, we have to find its conjugate. So how do you find conjugate of any complex number? If z is in the form x plus iy, then its conjugate is z bar. We just have to change the sign of imaginary part, it is x minus iy. So when complex number is like this, we write conjugate is like this. But is this complex number in the form of a plus ib or x plus iy? Directly it is not in that form. So what we do is, first you have to write the given complex number in the form of x plus iy or a plus ib. So let's take a given complex number as z, 3 minus 2i into 2 plus 3i divided by 1 plus 2i into 2 minus i. So first what we do is simplify it and write in the form of a plus ib. So first we multiply numerator, 2 into 3 6, 3 into 3i 9i, minus 2i into 2 minus 4i, minus 2i into 3i minus 6i square. Denominator 1 into 2, 1 into minus i, 2i into 2 4i, 2i into minus i minus 2i square. So it is 6, 9i minus 4i is plus 5i, I square is minus 1, so minus 1 into minus 6 it is plus 6, 2 minus i plus 4i plus 3i, minus 2 into I square is minus 1, minus 2 into minus 1 is plus 2. So total it is 12 plus 5i divided by 4 plus 3i. Now still is it in the form a plus ib? Again no. So we have to rationalize this denominator. So multiply, divide. Take the conjugate of denominator and multiply, divide. 4 minus 3i divided by 4 minus 3i. So z is multiplying 12 into 4 48, 12 into minus 3i minus 36i, 5i into 4 plus 20i, 5i into minus 3i minus 15i square divided by 4 plus 3i into 4 minus 3i. It is in the form of a plus ib into a minus ib. So now need to multiply each term, apply the formula a plus ib into a minus ib. So it is a square plus b square. So z can be written as 48 minus 36i plus 20i minus 16i minus 15 into I square is minus 1 into minus 15 plus 15 divided by 16 plus 9 25. So z is, add 48 plus 15 63 minus 16i divided by 25, or you can write 63 by 25 minus 16 by 25 into I. So given complex number, now it is in the form of a plus ib. Now once it is in a plus ib, we write the conjugate by changing the sign of imaginary part. So now conjugate is z bar is equal to, imaginary part is minus here, so change the sign to plus 63 by 25, real part remains same only here, okay. 63 by 25 plus 16 by 25 into I. This is the conjugate of given complex number. Understand? No doubt. Next, if three plus 2i sin theta divided by 1 minus 2i sin theta is purely real, then purely real and 0 less than or equal to theta less than or equal to pi by 2, then find theta. So question is like this: some complex number is given 3 plus 2i sin theta divided by 1 minus 2i sin theta is purely real. So this complex number is purely real. So what we know, when any complex number in the form of a plus ib, when it is purely real, so purely real means there is no imaginary part. So purely real if its imaginary part is 0, and it is purely imaginary when a complex number is purely imaginary when there is no real part. So no real part means a should be 0. Okay. So these are the conditions we studied. A complex number is purely real or purely imaginary. Okay. So this is purely real given, means its imaginary part should be 0. Now is the complex number in the form of a plus ib? No. So directly we cannot take imaginary part is only sin theta here or only sin theta here. So first simplify the given complex number into the standard form a plus ib, then only we can take purely real or purely imaginary. So most of the calculations will be doing only by converting the given complex number into the standard form. So let us take given complex number as z. Let z is equal to 3 plus 2i sin theta divided by 1 minus 2i sin theta. So to convert to the form of a plus ib, we have to rationalize denominator. So take conjugate and multiply, divide. 3 plus 2i sin theta divided by 1 minus 2i sin theta. So now multiply and divide 1 plus 2i sin theta divided by 1 plus 2i sin theta. Okay. Now multiply and simplify. Numerator 3 into 1, 3 into 2i sin theta, it is 6i sin theta. Next 2i sin theta into 1, 2i sin theta, 2i sin theta into 2i sin theta plus 4i square sin square theta divided by, observe denominator 1 minus 2i sin theta, 1 plus 2i sin theta, it is in the form a minus ib into a plus ib. So denominator I can write as a square plus b square. What is b? 2 sin theta. Denominator no need to multiply element wise, it is in the form of a minus ib into a plus ib, which we can write a square plus b square. Simplify. 3 6i sin theta plus 2i sin theta, 8i sin theta. Next 4 I square sin square, I square is minus 1 into 4, so it will become minus 4 sin square theta divided by 1 plus 2 sin theta whole square, 4 sin square theta. Okay. So first I will write real parts. 3 is a real and 4 sin square theta is real. 8i sin theta, this is imaginary. So 3 minus 4 sin square theta plus 8i sin theta divided by this. So, I will divide separately. 1 plus 4 sin square theta divided by 1 plus 4 sin square theta. Okay. Now, z is in the form a plus I into b, okay, by dividing separately. Now, we are writing it in the form of a plus ib. Now, given that z is purely real, implies imaginary part of z should be 0. Any complex number is purely real when its imaginary part is 0. So, what is the imaginary part here? 8 sin theta by 1 plus 4 sin square theta. 8 sin theta divided by 1 plus 4 sin square theta should be equal to 0. Solving 8 sin theta by this is 0 means cross multiplying 8 sin theta is 0 into this will become 0. 8 sin theta 0 means divide 8 here. So, sin theta will be 0 by 8 means 0. So, sin theta is 0. What will be theta value? Observe, given that theta lies in between 0 to pi by 2, means in first quadrant, including 0 and including pi by 2. So, only in first quadrant sin theta 0 means what is theta value? Theta is 0, since theta belongs to what they given? 0 to pi by 2. Since given that theta lies in first quadrant 0 to pi by 2 closed interval, so theta value must be 0 only. So, only one solution possible here. Understand? So, complex number, first you have to simplify and write in the form of a plus ib, then only we can do any calculations. Understand? Now, suppose if it is given that it is purely imaginary, okay, in case if it is given that purely imaginary, so the problem is complete here only. If z is purely imaginary, then if it is given that z is purely imaginary, then its real part must be 0. Then real part of z must be 0. So, what is the real part here? Real part is this one, 3 minus 4 sin square theta by 1 plus 4 sin square theta. Is equal to 0. Cross multiply 3 minus 4 sin square theta equal to 0 into this will become 0. So, what will be sin square theta here? 3 by 4. So, sin theta will be plus or minus root 3 by 2. Sin theta is plus or minus root 3 by 2, where theta lies in first quadrant. In first quadrant we know sin is positive. So, sin positive means as theta belongs to closed interval 0 to pi by 2, where sin is positive. So, sin theta equal to, only we take plus root 3 by 2. Sin theta root 3 by 2 means theta will be pi by 3. Understand? So, based on where we are taking the angle theta, okay. So, they only given that theta lies in first quadrant. So, we take sin as positive only, and sin theta is root 3 by 2 means theta should be pi by 3. Okay. So, if it is given that z is purely imaginary, then we will get theta is pi by 3. Understand? So, this part not required. In the question they are given only purely real. If it is imaginary, then we are solving like this. Okay. Right. See the next question. Example. model is important. If 1 plus I divided by 1 minus I whole to the power of n, if 1 plus I divided by 1 minus I whole power n is equal to 1, then find the least positive integral value of n. Find least positive integral value of n. So when it is given that this complex number 1 plus I by 1 minus I whole to the power of n is equal to 1, we have to find the least positive integral value of n. N should be what? Positive, and should be integral value, and should be the least value. So what should be n, so that this value will be equal to 1. Observe that this is equal to 1 means it is a real number. So what should be n value, so that this value will be equal to 1. So solve it. Given 1 plus I divided by 1 minus I whole to the power of n is equal to 1. Now directly for taking the power, the complex number is not in the form of a plus ib. So denominator also we have I. So what we do is, inside this bracket we have to simplify this term. So for that we take the conjugate of denominator and multiply divide. We have 1 plus I divided by 1 minus I. Now multiply and divide the conjugate of denominator, that is 1 plus I divided by 1 plus I whole to the power of n is equal to 1. Equality not changed, we are just taking the conjugate of denominator and multiply divide. So numerator we can multiply 1 into 1, 1 into I into 1 plus I into I is I square. Denominator 1 minus I into 1 plus I, it is in the form a minus ib into a plus ib. I can write a square plus b square whole to the power of n is equal to 1. So 1 I plus I is 2i, I square is minus 1 divided by 2 whole to the power of n is equal to 1. So 1 cancelled. So 2i by 2 whole to the power of n is equal to 1. I power n is equal to 1 by cancelling 2. So we have I power n is equal to 1. So what should be n value? Can we take n as 0? We know I power 0 is 1, but can we take n as 0? N we cannot take 0 because n should be positive integral value. So n cannot be 0. Next, can we take n as 1? If n is 1, I power 1, is it equal to 1? No. Okay, I not equal to 1. Next, if I take n as 2, if n is 2, so I square, is it equal to 1? No. So what is the least value of n? It should be 4. Okay, not only 4, actually we can take any multiple of 4. We know that I power any multiple of 4 is always 1, but out of all that, which one is least integral value? 4 is the least integral value. Okay, so here we know that I power 4k is always equal to 1 for k belongs to z. Okay, when k is any integer, I power multiple of 4 is always 1. So to get least positive integral value of n, so the least positive integral value of n is 4. Okay, not only 4, you can take 8, 12, 16, 20 and so on. For all that values, I power n will be 1 only. So out of all that, least value will be 4. Understand? right. So these are the some problems based on writing in the standard form, taking conjugate and modulus. Okay. So next topic, Argand plane and polar form of a complex number. Argand plane and polar form of a complex number. Okay. So first we will discuss about Argand plane, then we will see how to represent a complex number in a polar form. Okay. Argand plane. Now if you observe in real numbers, we studied a plane called xy plane. In geometry we studied xy plane, where each point in this plane can be represented as ordered pair in the form of xy. Okay. Every point corresponding to this plane, it represents an ordered pair in the form of x comma y, where x is the distance along x axis and y is the distance along the y axis. This is what we studied in xy plane. This is the xy plane. Now similar to this in complex numbers. Okay. If any complex number is in the form of x plus iy, any complex number in the form z is equal to x plus iy. So any complex number is given in this form, it can be represented as a point x comma y, where x is the real part and y is the imaginary part. It can be represented as a point in a plane. The plane is called as Argand plane. Okay. Argand plane, or it is also called as the complex plane. Any complex number in the form z is equal to x plus iy can be represented as a point P x comma y, where x is the real part, y is the imaginary part, in a plane called as Argand plane, are also called as complex plane. Okay. So what will be having in this Argand plane or complex plane? Now in this Argand plane we will be having two mutually perpendicular lines. One is called as real axis. So instead of taking x axis, so here what we do is we will take real axis, and this vertical line is imaginary axis. Okay, vertical line is the imaginary axis, and the point of intersection of these two is the origin. So origin O I can write as 0, 0. So any point, any complex number z is equal to x plus iy. Okay, this can be represented as a point in a plane. So point is x comma y. Suppose this is the point P x comma y. So we move a distance along distance of x along real axis now, and a distance of y along imaginary axis. Then we reach the point P x comma y. So what this corresponds to? This point corresponds to a complex number here. Understanding? See, in xy plane the point corresponds to the ordered pair, whereas in complex plane this point corresponds to a complex number in the form of x plus iy. Understand? So if I want to represent a complex number like this, suppose z1 is like this, 2 minus 3i. So how can we represent it as a point? It can be represented as a point. What will be the point here? Real part is 2, imaginary part is minus 3. So it corresponds to the point 2 comma minus 3. Okay. So this is not x axis, this is real axis, and this is imaginary axis, this is origin. So we represent 2 comma minus 3. X is positive, y is negative. X positive, y negative means we can take like this. So 2 comma minus 3. So this will be the point A 2 comma minus 3. Understand? Next, suppose there is a complex number Z2 in the form of minus 3 minus 4i. So it corresponds to what point? As a point B minus 3 comma minus 4. So minus 3 comma minus 4 means both x is negative and y is negative. So suppose this is the point B minus 3 comma minus 4. It lies in the third quadrant. Okay. So if both real and imaginary parts are positive, it lies in first quadrant. Real part is negative, imaginary part positive, lies in second quadrant. Both real and imaginary parts are negative, lies in third quadrant. If x is positive, y is negative, then it lies in the fourth quadrant. Now there will be some complex numbers which are purely real or they are purely imaginary. Suppose we have Z3 equal to 5y. This is purely imaginary. Now where this point lies, it corresponds to the point, suppose C. Real part is 0, imaginary part is 5. So this is the point 0 comma 5 means it lies on imaginary axis. So purely imaginary numbers, they always lies on imaginary axis. If I take purely real number, Z4 equal to minus 4. So it corresponds to the point D minus 4 comma 0. Now where minus 4 comma 0 lies? On real axis. So purely real numbers, okay, complex number which is purely real, it always lies on a real line, whereas the complex number which is purely imaginary, those numbers lies on this imaginary line. If it has both real part as well as imaginary part, based on the sign of real part or imaginary part, it will lie in one of these 4 quadrants. Understand? So just the complex number we are converting into a point where the point corresponds to real part and imaginary part, and we are denoting it in a plane. That plane is called as the Argand plane or complex plane. Understand? Right. So this is Argand plane. Next, polar form of complex number. Now before studying the polar form of complex number, first we should know one more definition, which is argument of complex number. Argument of complex number, or it is also called as amplitude. Argument or amplitude of complex number. Suppose z equal to x plus iy be any complex number which is represented as the point P x comma y in Argand plane. So again we are taking a complex number and we are representing as a point in Argand plane, real axis, imaginary axis. Suppose this is a point P which corresponds to the coordinates x comma y. So we know how to represent a point in Argand plane. Now the argument or amplitude of complex number, it is defined as, if I join the point P with origin, this is the line joining origin. Now the angle made by this line joining origin with positive direction of real axis and measured in anti-clockwise direction. Okay. So the angle made by this line joining OP with respect to the positive direction of real axis, this angle is called as the amplitude or argument of complex number. It is denoted by ARG of Z or AMP of Z, means argument of Z or it is amplitude of Z. Okay. So how do we define this? The angle made by line joining origin and the point P, which corresponds to the complex number with respect to the positive direction of real axis. So this angle is called as the amplitude or argument of the complex number. Understand? So how do we find this? For finding this, what is OP distance here? OP distance is root of x square plus y square. And what is that root of x square plus y square is nothing but modulus of this complex number. So here OP equal to R, which is root of x square plus y square. That modulus I denote by R. So if I know OP length is R, now what will be this distance and what will be this distance? Okay, from diagram observe, if I apply sin theta, first apply cos theta. What is cos theta here? Cos theta is adjacent by hypotenuse x by r, and sin theta is opposite by hypotenuse, opposite is y. Okay, this length is y, this length is x, and this length is r. So applying cos theta and sin theta, we are getting x by r cos theta, y by r is sin theta. Now we can solve these two equations based on sin positive or cos positive, sin negative or cos positive, like this. We will get one of these 4 quadrants. The point may not always lies in first quadrant. If cos is positive, sin positive, we will get in first quadrant. Now the point may lie in second quadrant, third quadrant or fourth quadrant, or it may lie on real axis, imaginary axis, anywhere it lies. Okay. So we can find this theta value by applying this formula. Cos theta is x by r and sin theta is y by r. Understand? Now suppose we got that cos theta is 1 by root 2, sin theta is 1 by root 2. Now how many values are there where cos is 1 by root 2 or sin is 1 by root 2? There exist infinitely many solutions. So writing all that infinitely many solutions is difficult. So here what we do is, we confine ourselves to some particular interval. Okay, we will confine ourselves to some particular interval. Now in that interval only we will be finding the solution. So that angle, it is called as the principal argument or principal amplitude. So these are the formulas used to find the theta value. So we will consider principal argument or principal amplitude. Principal argument or principal amplitude. So if this theta value lies in between minus pi to pi, we will take one complete rotation. Okay, usually we will be taking from 0 to 2 pi. Okay, starting here 0. Now if we take one complete revolution, we will be getting all the angles. So usually we are taking from 0 to 2 pi, but here for principal argument we have to take the angle from minus pi up to pi. Minus pi means we are taking in anti-clockwise direction. So from 0 up to here it is minus pi. So we take from minus pi up to pi. So if you observe here also we are taking all the angles from this 4 quadrants. So here also we are taking one complete revolution, starting from minus pi up to pi. Okay. So if theta lies in between minus pi to pi, if theta lies in minus pi to pi, including pi but excluding minus pi, then theta is called as principal argument or principal amplitude of the complex number. Understanding? So usually we take the angle in minus pi to pi only, whether it is mentioned or not, principal amplitude is mentioned or not, always we take the angle in minus pi to pi only. Understand? Suppose we get that cos is minus 1 by root 2, sin is 1 by root 2. Cos is 1 minus 1 by root 2, sin is 1 by root 2 means cos negative, sin positive. You have to take angle in the second quadrant. Okay. Now how do we write that angles? Let us see the diagram. How do we find this principal argument or principal amplitude? To find principal argument or principal amplitude, you have to remember this table. So this is what 0 we know, this is pi by 2, this is pi. Now we are taking the angle from minus pi to pi only. So this is 0. Now if I am taking in a clockwise direction, this will be minus pi by 2, and I will move up to here, it will be minus pi. Understanding? So from 0 anti-clockwise it is positive up to pi, from 0 clockwise it is negative up to minus pi. Since we are taking the angles from minus pi to pi, we are taking one complete revolution, so all the solutions will be covered here. So if the angle lies in first quadrant, so directly we can take the angle as alpha or theta. Okay, I am representing in terms of alpha. So if we come to know that both cos and sin are positive, now angle lies in first quadrant, so directly we can take it as alpha. Next, suppose cos is negative, sin is positive, the angle lies in second quadrant. So how do we write the second quadrant angle? This is pi, we are taking in a clockwise direction. So second quadrant angle I will write pi minus alpha. Okay. Next, if it lies in fourth quadrant where cos is positive, sin is negative, so can we take fourth quadrant angle as 2 pi minus alpha? Actually it also lies in fourth quadrant only, but is it lies in minus 180 to 180? It does not lie in minus 180 to 180. So don't take 2 pi minus alpha. So here 0 I will take in fourth quadrant, it is minus alpha, where minus alpha lies in minus pi to pi. Next, third quadrant, actually third quadrant we can take as pi plus alpha, but if I take pi plus alpha, now where it lies pi plus alpha, it is more than pi. More than pi means does not lie in the principal solution. So what we do is I will take minus pi plus alpha. Suppose if both cos and sin are negative, we have to take a third quadrant angle. Now where this third quadrant angle I can take as, this is minus pi and we are moving in anti-clockwise direction, it is plus. So minus pi plus alpha. So using this table, cos sin, based on this sine of cos and sin, we can find whichever the angle required. Understand? So this is how we are finding the principal argument or principal amplitude. Understand? Now once we know that principal amplitude or argument, now we can represent the complex number in a polar form. Okay. See what is the polar form we can write now? Polar form of a complex number. Let z is equal to x plus iy be a complex number where modulus of z is r, which is root of x square plus y square. Modulus of complex number we know, mod z is, I am denoting it by r. okay, root of x square plus y square, and theta be the principal amplitude or argument. Let theta be the principal argument of z. Then we have, so what is cos theta we are writing x by r, and sin theta we are writing y by r. Already this we know how to find that principal amplitude or argument. So cos theta is x by r, sin theta is y by r. So what I can write, x is r cos theta and y is r sin theta. Okay. So we know x, we know y. How can I write z now? Okay, complex number is same only, but we are writing in another form, where initially we have complex number in terms of x and y. Now we are going to write a complex number in terms of r and theta. Okay, so now z we can write as x. X means r cos theta plus I into y. What is y now? R sin theta. So if I take r common, cos theta plus I sin theta. So z is equal to r into cos theta plus I sin theta. Now this is how we are writing the complex number in a polar form. So this representation of complex number in terms of r and theta is called as the polar form of complex number. So this is a polar form. Understand? So here z I will write as in terms of r comma theta. Okay, z I am writing in terms of r comma theta, where this r comma theta, these are called as the polar coordinates. Called as the polar coordinates. Polar coordinates in a complex plane or organoid plane. Okay. So usually we write in terms of x comma y, but here we are writing in terms of r and theta. Understand? So this is the polar form of the given complex number. Okay. So when any complex number is given, z is equal to x plus iy. Now to write that complex number in polar form, what we require is r and theta. R value we know, that is the modulus of complex number. Any complex number given, we know how to find its modulus, and we have to find theta value. How to find theta? By solving these two equations, cos theta and sin theta. Based on their sign, we can find theta value using this table. So once we know theta and r, we can write complex number in this polar form like this. Understand? Right. So this is the theory related to organoid plane and polar form of the complex number. Okay. Right. So next class we will see the examples based on this, how to represent a complex number in a polar form. Okay. So go through the theory part. So next class we will be solving the numericals. Okay. Thank you.